Happy Friday, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see me? So I'm going to give it a minute or two for people to trickle in. Maybe trickle's not the right word on this Friday. Or is it too soon to make those jokes? Installing FramePack, good idea. I haven't installed it yet, but I've heard good things and I've seen some interesting videos out of it. So I'll get started. We're 2 after the hour. Still waiting for people to trickle in, but might as well. So TGIF, everyone. It's been quite the week all around. My name's Cale, though on site you probably know me as KF Tiger. And you've perhaps accidentally tuned into the Civitai Creative Community Stream this Friday. Whether it's intentional or not, you should probably stick around. There's some good stuff. If you just tuned in, you don't know what Civitai is, you might have seen us in the news this week due to some changes. But we're a large platform for the creation and sharing of AI-generated arts and tools to make that art, and now videos. We've got millions of users on site, along with nearly 100,000 users on our community Discord, which you can access at discord.gg/Civitai. So if you're watching this on Twitch or any of our social media streams like LinkedIn or X, come check out civitai.com and the Discord. Currently, we stream mostly twice a week, with our community engagement manager, Ali, streaming office hours updates every Wednesday, and myself doing these creative community streams on Fridays. If you're on Twitch, you can also see the times for these booked in the calendar and sync to whatever your time zone might be. If you don't already know me on site, I did mention it, but this is my profile in Civitai. I've made a lot of wild, wacky, weird, wonderful models on site, as well as a number of videos featured as part of Project Odyssey Season 2, which, speaking of Project Odyssey Season 2, thanks for your patience last week, as I wasn't on the stream because I was off attending that in San Francisco, which was quite, a fun event to be able to see how far AI videos come and, all the cool things, both closed source and open source coming forward. So I guess today, as part of, I'll reveal in a sec, my guest today hails from the far out lands of ThinkDiffusion, which is the open source Gen AI workspace in the cloud. Let me welcome Jacob on stream. Jacob.
Hey, hello.
So,
how's it going?
Which camera is the best way? Yeah, we'll do that for now. That works. So, Jacob works for ThinkDiffusion, doing a lot of workflow magic and pretty cool stuff. He has over 15 years of photography experience in Photoshop, software development, and a passion for generative AI art, or AI in general. Since 2022, he's been at the forefront of AI communities, helping creators tackle the technical challenges of learning new tools. Him and I first connected through the AI Pub community Discord, so there's a connection right there. Can't really drop the link, as I was posting crazy video entries for Project Odyssey Season 2 and sharing them. From there, that's when we started talking workflows and Hunyuan and Wan, which we'll talk about soon. And, our wonderful friendship bloomed from there.
And I'm glad it did.
And what is his nick on Civit? I don't think he has a Civit account now.
I do not.
He's too professional for that now. We're sad.
I have one to download models and donate buzz here and there, but I'm mostly in the workflow business.
And he's got a really cool one to show today. Well, not just one, but a whole pack of them. Right. So this is the topic of the stream. I'm not sure if you want to talk a little bit about yourself, ThinkDiffusion a bit before we start getting into the meat and potatoes of the stream.
Yeah. Well, you kind of mentioned most of it. Yeah, I'm an art instructor or an AI instructor over here at ThinkDiffusion. Um, we're basically an online Gen AI workspace. We offer high powered stable diffusion or comfy UI machines, automatic 1111, Forge, Focus, you name it, along with, yeah, well, let me see
At
here.
least
You've
have
got
the
that
website
pulled up
on
here.
screen, right?
Perfect. Yep, exactly. So we have a wide variety of different platforms that you can generate from, ranging from 16 gigabyte VRAM machines all the way up to 48 gigabyte Ultra machines, which are perfect for, well, the topic of this video is, AI video, which more and more is soaking up that VRAM. So, um, but we also do a lot of AI instruction as well, and it's been a really cool journey with Think Diffusion so far, and I'm stoked to be here as well. Um, yeah.
Yeah, this is a stream we kind of talked about for a while, although I haven't been on the team that long, but always trying to find a way to combine some of the open source stuff we're working on, because, Civitai and Think Diffusion are both open source based, well, based off open source, stable diffusion and open Gen AI platforms, in different respects for different user bases. So it's a nice connection. But I will start with, the topic of our stream today being, let's go picture in picture so they can see this proper. That's better. Not just the contest, but, I think Diffusion launched Juan and Hunyuan a fair while back, but we officially launched Juan 2.1 and Hunyuan video models on Civitai, this week. Kind of late last week was, behind the scenes testing and working, but this week more, official, besides the downtime and everything around it. But we've also put out a contest, which I will drop the article here. Oh, Cosmic is here. So, and camera back. So feel free to click that article link. We've made a contest to go with this, which is, about generating on-site using Juan 2.1 or Hunyuan, whether it be text to video or image to video. This isn't so much a contest about, making a feature-length 5-minute AI video with, all the upscaling magic and audio and everything like that. That's Project Odyssey, which, I'm hopeful season 3 is going to look pretty awesome when that comes around. But on site with Juan 2.1 and Hunyuan, you can have generations starting as low as 100 buzz for just a small text to video Juan generation. And I'll go more into details of the contest, but let's talk a bit more about the models themselves. So we've got Hunyuan and Juan. What are, I'll throw you the guest. I'm not going to take all the talking time. What are the big things about these two models? What are the differences? What's the same?
Yeah. So I was mentioning it a little earlier. I'm not the most technical person when it comes to machine learning science and everything like that. I could tell you how I feel about these models. Both offer text to video, image to video, or actually Hunyuan is still working on the image to video. Juan does image to video, text to video, and now a form of video to video. We'll be showing that a little bit later on. Both offer very similar things. They go about it different ways. For example, video to video, there's a specific model for that for Hunyuan, whereas Juan controls more based off of depth and pose, for example, rather than an actual denoise of the input video. Now, as far as the technical bits, I'm not going to do a disservice to all those machine learning. Yeah. I'm more of an artist kind of guy. Quality wise, there's a lot of great things that both do, and some do better. Some do better than the other, which we'll kind of go over. But they're both wonderful options right now.
Yeah. And Hunyuan, from what I've seen, it's a little more simple of an ecosystem, and that there's really just one Hunyuan model. Although now there's FramePack, which is more an extension of that. But as far as lures
Skyreels.
go, yeah, it's all Hunyuan. Whereas Wan, there's a little more difference because there's at least two different models. The 1.3B, which is kind of the lower end, can run on a lower end mid-grade kind of PC, whereas the 14B's higher end, better results, but takes considerably more VRAM to run. And because of that, I'm sure you've probably seen the same thing. Wan has taken off a lot quicker because if you can run it on your computer with, I think I've seen FramePack working on like 4 or 6 gigs of VRAM. I'm sure it's more like how many frames per minute or how many minutes per frame at that point, but it works.
Or iterations per second or seconds per iteration. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that really sets Wan apart too, because me personally, I stuck around even after Flux came out for image gen. I stuck around with SDXL for a good while, not because my GPU couldn't run Flux, but because I wanted things to not take 30 minutes to generate. Yeah. And so I see Wan having a huge leg up in that aspect.
Yeah. But it does make some challenges, and as far as the different models of Wan and LoRa compatibility, but I'll talk a bit about more of that too. One question: does those statistics hold up on Civet as well? Because Hunyuan isn't that much more expensive. Hunyuan, I mean, like I said, it's only the one model for Hunyuan, so the quality will come out more consistent for sure, and higher quality as far as animation. Whereas, if you did I2V on Civet versus text to video, you'd probably get, better results from the image to video because it's using the higher end model, because there is no lower end model for image to video. So I'll talk a little bit, as far as on the Civet side, before going into the cool workflow stuff, it's available in the Civitai generator. Well, it's a good animation I tried making earlier. It didn't turn out great. As far as user statistics, Wan was way more popular, being self-hosted renders. I mean, I can't speak to the open source side of what people are running on their PCs, but as far as our image or video generation stats, I know Wan's been. I actually don't know the Hunyuan numbers, but Wan has been increasing every day. So for a quick look at it on the Civitai generator, where you've got the image tab, you've got video tab, and Hunyuan or Wan are right here, which, I was trying to make this old picture animate. Didn't turn out great in this case. But you can start from an image with Wan if you want to do image to video, or in Hunyuan, you can't, but you can add in on both them LoRa's as you're used to from, say Flux or Illustrious or Pony. It's the same interface. Pretty simple. These should be all censored down. I'll try making a better crunch wrap. In this case, I'm not going to jump into these yet, but it should work where you can just pick one, throw in the keywords into your prompt. Then Wan, you can use LoRa's along with your image to video. Right now, there's a little bit of, like I mentioned, a bit of challenge in compatibility, because if you're doing text to video, certain models will work, where some won't, just because, if it was trained on 14B, it might not work on the 1.3B. That is something we're looking into, offering both. So if you want the cheapest, quickest generation, you can get that. But if you want something that's more compatible with LoRa's, then you can have that too. So I've linked the contest in the chat there, and I'll do it again. But take a look through that. The contest goes on until, I believe, the 6th. There's a lot of different categories. Let's go back through. We've made it kind of a cinematic filmmaker style contest. So instead of, elemental themes, this is the themes you can enter are action, horror, romance, comedy, and sci-fi. And all these clips were generated using the, text to video 1.3B model. So Each of these cost about 100 buzz. You see how to enter it. There is a prize. There's a badge. If you enter the contest, you'll get that badge. And if you win the contest, you'll get the, any of the categories, you'll get the director's cut version of that badge, which is an animated one that I still have to do. So that might be next week's project. One of. There's lots of buzz available from the contest. If you get first place, it's 100,000 buzz. Second place, 50,000 in the animated. All the rules, won't go over that. In the article, I also did include all the prompts and how they were generated. So you should be able to recreate any of that.
100,000 buzz. That's a whole lot of one.
Yeah, that's, okay, math. I guess that's 1,000 generations, right? 1,000 generations at 100 buzz a generation, right?
Yeah, we're smart people.
Yeah. We're the ones who don't know the machine learning math, and we don't know 100,000 divided by 100.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So do you want to dig into prompting first?
Prompting.
That's the thing. It's applicable on both, on Civitai, and it's applicable on ThinkDiffusion. One thing you have to get right is the prompt. If you go in and say, I want to make a video of a golden retriever, if you just start saying golden, and if you can hear my keyboard, I'm sure you can. Sorry about that. Golden retriever dog riding a tricycle. It'll probably turn out okay, but it's not going to turn out. Yeah, let's go 3 seconds to make it quicker. But it's probably not going to turn amazing because these are natural language models. They're both pretty similar as far as prompting goes, but you want to make a nice descriptive prompt. Yeah. And, we have done a education hub guide for both models, which I'll link through here. And mostly about connecting the subject, the scene, and what action you want done. And both of them are, fairly similar in that. But I will say, for the most part, that's a lot to think about, right? To actually think about, I want slow motion, plus I want fisheye, maybe some pan and scan. If you want the most control, absolutely go through that. Similarly with Hunyuan. But we're busy guys with busy lives and 40 minutes left on stream. So the best way I've found so far is ChatGPT and DeepSeek. They both understand what Wan and Hunyuan are. I'm sure Llama can do it as well. You can. Actually, that video turned out pretty well.
That's not bad.
Not terrible. Not terrible for 100 buzz with a very basic prompt. Not perfect, but okay. But I found DeepSeek to be quite useful. Help make a prompt for 2.1 text to video about cat eating pizza. Yeah, and really you're not limited by which LLM. Some of them have it already pre-trained, like DeepSeek and ChatGPT are, quite knowledgeable about it. But you can also find ways to prompt them in order to make, perfect prompts.
Yeah, even with like a local model that has no idea what Wan or Hunyuan are, you follow that same basic formula of like subject, scene, and action. Maybe work out a system prompt. Say you're just working with a local language model, or whatever service you're using doesn't really know it that well. That's the basic formula that you're going to want to stick with too. Or if you're running this locally in Comfy UI and you have one of those fancy GPT nodes or language LLM nodes, you can hook up a good system prompt for that as well.
Yeah, and maybe the workflow has something like that. Does it? I don't know. We'll find out. Actually, don't remember if it does. So I'm being honest. But so say we've made this prompt. If we pop that into Wan, we should get at least a bit better result. We can also switch that over. Can you change that to a Hunyuan T2B prompt? Using DeepSeek now, but ChatGPT is better for image to video because DeepSeek is a little worse with images. The negative prompts, that is something I've messaged the devs about opening up, because negative prompting does work with Wan and Hunyuan, but by default they're set up with pretty good negatives.
And that's a fantastic point. I don't think I've changed Wan negatives once.
Yeah, I ran it locally, and
yeah. I think with the Wan workflow I use mostly still has the negatives in Chinese.
Yeah,
because it's good work out of the box. But of course, there's always more that you can do.
Yeah, and I mean, here we've got, maybe not perfect, but in Wan we've got our cat eating pizza.
It makes me happy, so I guess job well done, right?
Maybe the 14B can make it more realistic, but for 100 buzz and being able to see it actually work on stream, which I'm glad there was no update right during the stream time. And yeah, negatives are good for targeted fixes. If you're on a fixed seed and you're close to having something but you want to change it, you can. And yeah, Hunyuan starts at 150 buzz. It should be a pretty good video coming from this. And like I said, on the ChatGPT side, maybe we'll try an image to video one. Can you turn this image into a 1.1 image to video prompt with the clown running away? Oh, we get 2 choices. Great.
That's a 2 for
1. Let's try both. So this is a remake of a classic image that I think was Justin, our founder's favorite way of, I'll just show the picture first, of introducing me was when people asked how we got introduced, was I threatened to burn down the company. And that's one of the maintenance mode pictures from the contest. It's another, oh, it worked first time. Okay. Sometimes the orchestrator doesn't work the first time you copy an image in. You might not need to refresh. That's just how it is, how I found out. So we'll do 3 seconds. As you can see, one image to video does cost more. It's 250 buzz for this video at 3 seconds as opposed to 100. But that's because it's using the 14B model, and image to video does take more processing power. And I'll copy the other one too. See which one did better.
Still very fast.
Yeah. Okay, so while that's going, maybe that's a good segue while we wait for that to start talking about what you've got.
Yeah.
So I'll switch the screen over.
Yeah, so on the flip side here, if you're looking for a good way to get into video generation quickly, and for cheap too, with how fast that those 1.3 generate on Civit, it's awesome. If you're looking for a bit more control or some variety in models, maybe you want to start experimenting with Comfy UI. Here I got ThinkDiffusion's front page open up here. As I mentioned, online platform for cloud GPU processing. Launch a Comfy UI machine with a click of a button or a few clicks of a button. And what we got here to show you today, I'm going to give you a quick tour around here. So yeah, you go to this front page here. You can sign up on the top right here. Once you're all signed up, you can launch the app, which I have right over here. It'll look something like this. You'll have the option to go ahead and choose from a number of different platforms like Automatic 1111, Comfy, Focus, and so on, with some additional experimental extra platforms that we have here. Face Fusion is one that I used recently. That's a lot of fun. And then you can choose what kind of version you want to launch, and then what kind of machine you want to launch. Prices on the normal user will be shown right here as well per hour. You can launch 48 gigabyte or all the way down to 16 gigabyte VRAM if that's what you need. Use what you need. What I wanted,
What would you run for Juan or
for
Hunyuan?
Juan, I'm 48 gigabyte, and that's where the smaller Juan 1.3B model I think is really special, because not everybody, I don't know a single person who has a 48 gigabyte GPU in their their gaming PC, right? They don't make one. The 5090 is 32 gigabyte. It's rough business right now. But for a good price, you can get an ultra machine at 48 gigabytes of VRAM, and it runs Juan 720p, 14 billion parameter, no problem. So that's what I usually use, but you can go down to 24. It just takes a little bit longer. What we have prepared is actually pretty cool. We actually got it all set up here in preparation for the stream. And then, Cale, I don't know if you can go ahead and share the link.
Yeah. Okay. I shared the link to the ThinkDiffusion. I don't know if you want to talk. I'll switch, copy the other link in. But if they use your link to sign up, do they get something special?
Yeah, it's same with the link to this page that's also in the article here. If you sign up using that link with the affiliate code in there, you will get 20% off your first year subscription for the TD Pro, which basically for that you get a discount on your hourly costs for the machine. So I can't give you the exact prices here. I don't want to be off even by a penny, but you get a discount on that. You get 200 gigabytes of persistent storage for the life of the plan. So you could still sign up without signing up for TD Pro and still mess around a little bit and get to know the platform a bit. But the storage only lasts a specific amount of time. So if you want to keep your models and keep your custom nodes, stuff like that, TD Pro will let you keep that for the life of the plan. And then if you do that with that code, you also get with that link, you will also get an additional 20% on your first credit deposit. So you pay for a certain amount of credits, you get an additional 20% for when you set up your machine. So more time on the GPU. What we put together here is really cool. We have a collection of Juan and Hunyuan video workflows here. We have this page here. He just shared that link in there. And basically, we put together a bunch of our favorite workflows for both of these video models. And I'm going to pull them up here in a moment. But you could find that page, read over it, read over the workflows that we have included. You can click on them and check them all out here. And if you decide that you do want to sign up and try these out, you can go ahead and sign in, join TD Pro. And then as soon as you're signed up for TD Pro, you can click this button. It'll let you go ahead and clone the workspace to yours. So you don't need to manually install any custom nodes. You don't need to manually install any models. All of the example images and videos will be in there. You just click the button and it will take care of all of that. I think they said within 2 hours. It's a lot of models, but I think it'll go by a little bit faster when it clones all over. But 70 gigabytes, give or take.
Start it up. Go make some dinner and watch a movie.
Exactly. There's a lot of models that we actually have built in that you don't need to install, but some of the extra special stuff that we have going on here, we do need to install there. But it's really quick and easy to go ahead and get all that set up. So yeah, hoping you guys check that out. But I'm going to show you a little bit about it here. So this is what a machine looks like once we got to have my Ultra 48 gigabyte running here. And then when you open it up, you'll have your Comfy UI folder. And again, it installs all the models for you. This will be your file browser. If we have time, I'll break down a little bit more about how to interact with the files and whatnot. But I really want to show what you guys are familiar with already is workflows and Comfy UI more than likely. So yeah, once you get all that loaded in, you have these 10 workflows that you get to choose from. They all do. Some of them do the same thing, like Juan text to video and Hunyuan text to video. I'm actually going to spend some time focusing on a bit more of the advanced workflows here. I don't know what happened to my. We'll let that generate for a moment. I had a cool axolotl in a suit and tie, but I think I've been timed out of the machine for too long.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
As far as questions go, yeah, that's not a question. 20% off and a free 5090. I don't think you get a free 5090. No.
Yeah, they haven't told me that yet. So
yeah, I haven't received mine, but it's not.
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
Yeah. Yeah, still waiting for that. I can hop over for a sec, show the videos.
That would be great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. While you
let this going.
Hope that.
Well, I punch my screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Just mute your mic if you punch it too hard. So I'll switch back over to my screen for a sec. So we've got some video results now. This is the Hunyuan, with the cat prompt. Turned out, I mean, it's not exactly eating. It's more licking the pizza, but there's some cheese. And as far as the, Skippy the Clown, we used 2 different prompts, that ChatGPT generated, about the clown running out of the tent, with the server tent on fire. And I think both turned out pretty good. The animation's pretty smooth. The fire texture's pretty nice.
Man's running.
And the other one, yeah, the camera's a little more dynamic. But that's how easy it can be to prompt these. You can absolutely, if you go into Remix or if you're making it, you can change the text, if you want something else. Follows behind the clown in a smooth dolly shot. I'll look at the clown. And maybe instead of sprinting out of the tent, we want him to dance out of the tent. Maybe cartwheels.
That would be a fun sight to see. I want to see how it handles motion like that.
And I mean, if you want, you can also add in, Alora. You could do the Studio Ghibli style. I'm not sure. I haven't really tried it for image to video. Because it's all the popularity with all the ChatGPT stuff now. There's a question there. Which model is your 48 gig GPU? If you have that answer.
I couldn't give an example. I've seen it show, I think, an L40. It depends on what's available at that time, but it's a variant of 48 gigabyte. Yeah. I don't know all the GPUs. All I know is VRAM's there and it works.
Yeah, it's all about the VRAM. So I'll take out some of the cinematic lighting, intense fire effects. And see if that comes through. Yeah, sometimes there is a little color shift in in Wan. Yeah, there's a little bit of color shift there. But maybe it will do cartwheels. We'll find out. Should we switch back over to yours? Is the axolotl loaded?
Yeah.
Or is he still struggling?
The axolotl did not load. I wanted to focus more on this, since we don't have too much time. But basically, I'm going to go over these workflows and what they do. I have some examples already preloaded here, so you can at least see some of the outputs here. The 3D nodes, it's not Comfy UI's strongest suit. I'm talking about the preview output. But I did generate a multi-view of this image right here. And then from there, it created a pretty decent mesh. You guys, if you sign up, you could try it for yourself here. And then it will have a fully textured output here. Like I said, for some reason, it doesn't want to show, but you could see that it did create a multi-view. Yeah.
It is an axolotl.
So, yep. And so we have that. This one will upscale the textures for you. So does a little bit of work here. You can adjust the denoise depending on your subject. And then you can add a prompt in there to reinforce the upscale. But we have these all laid out to where the steps are pretty easy to follow. And then, of course, if you want to break it apart and, make it your own, just hide the nodes that are hiding everything and start customizing it. We also have one in here that won't upscale. Then it'll just have the basic one. If you're looking to put together a bunch of assets that don't need to have the absolute most detail, this will be a lot faster way to do it. And it can run on 24 gigs too. So that's a huge plus. Same situation, you have all your steps in there. I'm going to rapid fire some of these here because Cale already went through some of the stuff that Civitai does. This here is basically one image to video with a LoRa, but we have it as a character spin pre-built. With that character spin LoRa, you actually pass through it as you were searching for LoRa's on Civitai here.
Oh, yeah.
This is basically set up to where you can go ahead and just load your image, the character you have, change out the prompt to match it. Of course, making sure you keep in that trigger word, and then click Q. It'll take care of the rest, and out comes a pretty nice 360 rotation. If you want to, you just use it as a regular image to video plus LoRa. There's your LoRa loader right there. Just change the prompt. Simple as that. From there, a different variant of image to video doesn't have a LoRa included. This is using Comfy UI's built-in WAN nodes. A lot of the other ones are using a Keyjize wrapper, and you'll kind of be able to play around with both, see what works best and what options mean the most to you. I find myself liking Keyjize wrappers a whole lot more. But yeah, same situation. Input your image, pretty much just press Q. Oh, and put in your prompt.
And you've got the negative set up.
Got the negative set up there.
Set the generic.
Yeah, just the generic. Don't make the hands real bad, that kind of stuff.
There was one question that came up.
Yeah.
Well, look, I can pop it up. Does the WAN model have limitations like no, not safe for work? No, it's not restricted in that way.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much Wild West. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you can run on your computer, you can run on Civitai, you can run on ThinkDiffusion, as long as you have the VRAM wherever you're working, and you can ask it to do what you want. And it, it might be janky a few times, but you might be able to get what you're looking for.
Oh. I'm going to skip around because I want to show a couple of these workflows last here to break them down a little bit here. We have the text to video with Hunyuan and a LoRa. You might recognize that guy, a good buddy of mine, Sebastian Camp.
Yeah.
We have a LoRa loader in here. So you load that LoRa up and use the trigger word here and press generate. And again, Hunyuan's still worth using. This is a pretty good output, and it's pretty crisp too. I find using it more, I think you said earlier, I find it more useful for realistic video more than stylized cartoons and whatnot, especially when it comes down to movement. Even if you get a good cartoon style out of Hunyuan, it might move a little too realistically versus like that frame by frame animation look.
Apparently you showed Sebastian without making a dad joke. So I hope you have it unloaded. No, you don't?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I didn't. Now I know.
Yeah. You got some time to think about it for one, but it's fine.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
And
if he's watching, you should join on stream sometime. We'll have you
on. Same situation with text to video for WAN. You can also load a LoRa here. I found this one on Civitai. It's a green army man or a toy army soldier. Yeah. Got that. Choose your LoRa, set your prompt. Good video. And optional frame interpolation. If you don't want that, you can just bypass it. This will bring, because I don't know if we mentioned it at all, but you're limited to, WAN is trained on 16 frames per second. So if you want to go past that, I highly recommend this node here for frame interpolation. Just look up Rife, or if you get the workspace, it'll be included in there and on these workflows. But I have it set to double the frames, makes it a bit smoother.
And on the Civitai side, that is something we're looking to add in. So maybe you can make your WAN video and then have upscaling and frame interpolation from there. So you can pick which one you like and then go from there.
Yep. This one falls a bit more in the awesome science of basically fine-tuning a WAN model. This is for camera control. You input a video. Oh, and it does use an LLM to go ahead and create a prompt for it. So you don't need to write a prompt. You can set your camera motion. So I wanted it to zoom out in this case. You can also have it pan left, right, arc left, right, stuff like that. It depends on the video. You might have different results, but it basically took that video and panned out the video.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. I've been playing around with this a bit more, trying to find more applications for it. The arcing left and right, it's still something that needs to be worked on, and it depends on the video, but it works, and it's a cool thing to mess around with.
Yeah.
And then Hunyuan video to video, load your video, set your prompt. I don't know why it's not loading the output here, but it was basically going to be set. It was Sebastian as a walking man.
As the walking man. Yeah, video to video is something that we're looking into, haven't implemented yet. Another question came up. So is today a video dedicated stream? Can we create an original character? Does our hero have a workflow for that? Well, it is a video dedicated stream. We are talking about Juan and Hunyuan and Civitai generator and ThinkDiffusion. But as far as training Juan or Hunyuan Laura, that's something. I mean, I can't say when it's coming. It's coming soon. It is available on the site. You can train models for those on site, but right now it's still kind of work in progress. And by that, I mean I haven't tried it enough and haven't made much, but I do plan to have a stream focused on training, and there may be a contest following as well.
Sweet. And actually, we can come up with something custom here in a moment. The last workflow I want to show you is really cool for that. Before that, though, second favorite is going to be this one image to video, but it's a start and end frame. So you can choose your first frame and where you want it to end up. Of course, set your prompt, and then you get something like that. And what's cool about this workflow is it's not showing here because I didn't generate this. Was from the last time I was running it, but it will spit out the last frame of your generation. You can right click and copy, click, paste down here, bring that back to your start frame and paste it. And then you can use that to continue the video if you have another end frame that you want to use, or if you want to just disable the end frame and it's basically image to video again.
Yeah.
You do that as many times as you want, as long as it will look good for you. And then you can go ahead and download all of those videos that you generated and then compile them here. You'll start with your start frame as a color reference because it's going to make sure that all the color matches between these videos that you combine. Load up each individual clip that you generated. It will color match, and you can get a really long clip like this. I think this one's about 23 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that is something Unstable's mentioned as well, as far as increasing video length and using V2V. Yeah, that is something, I mean, in the hopper, because that's absolutely being able to use end frame to generate the next, I guess, 5 seconds, or how long are you?
Yeah, it's I think 77 to 81 frames.
Okay, that's 16 frames each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of fun to mess around with this. There's a short that we did recently. I don't have a direct link to it, but I'll probably share it on my LinkedIn at some point. But we basically use this workflow religiously, coming up with character Lauras, using Krita to, get consistent aspects of the frames, consistent like backgrounds and whatnot and certain character details. And you can make a lot of great content with that, at least that much control, choosing where you start and choosing where you end. There's going to be a few you need to pray to the seed gods that the next generation will be the one. And sometimes it's not. That's just the nature of it. We know it all too well.
It's still a matter of rolling to a point.
Exactly. Roll a D20 and
hope you get the 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that perfect clip, but not always the case.
Now, this is the workflow that I worked on recently that is kind of my favorite right now to play with, and I'm hoping to make a cool short with it soon. But this is one fun control. If you've not heard about that, it's basically where you get to use preprocessors like your depth map, your open pose, scribble, as an input to control the video. But this one's got some extra steps, and I like it. So what we have here is basically a 3-in-1 workflow. It's an all-in-one suite for getting your first frame to match up and image to image what you want it to be. And then you can switch over to the video to video and actually generate the video. But similarly to the last workflow, you could take the end frame, which will populate right here, and copy it back over to your start frame and continue on from there. What I've done here, and I'm going to run a character actually real quick. Anybody have, Cale, do you have a idea for what we can make this guy?
Let's see in chat. What kind of prompt are you looking for? What kind of character or style?
Yeah, let's make it a character that will fit inside this depth map, basically.
Well,
With a little bit of leeway.
Let's see what chat comes up, or give them a few seconds to come up with somebody.
So in the meantime,
dinosaur, or even a dinosaur in general. If you can do Barney, but that might be too difficult. But if you can do a dinosaur, I think it would be cool.
How about walking plant or purple plant dinosaur? I'm going to take both of your ideas.
2 for 1.
Plant dinosaur man.
You're too late with the Shrek request. Sorry.
That's too late. So it's going to go ahead and generate that with the depth map control net. And we'll go ahead and see that here in a moment. But basically what we have here, it's super clean. It's also running on Rife, the frame interpolation. So it's generating even more frames as if it's, or if it's making it longer and then filling in those frames with interpolation. From there, same thing as that last workflow. You combine the 2 clips and you have a lot longer of a clip. Yeah, I want to see what purple dinosaur plant man is going to look like.
Somebody know. I mean, my screen's a little too small to be able to read it, but maybe you typed in plan man instead of plant man. Somebody said.
Oh my God. It's okay. The second time will be quicker to generate.
Yeah.
Let's see what plan man looks like. Oh my God.
Maybe not plant as much, but there's purple dinosaur, man.
You know what?
Pretty sure it's still PG.
Yeah, let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to go ahead and copy clip space. And I'm going to go ahead and load this guide. We'll probably talk about some other stuff while it's generating that.
Yeah.
I'm going to copy that prompt.
Shrek man once typed gay skin instead of gray skin. Yeah, that'll probably change your results.
And so yeah, I put in a lot of instructions because this is it's not difficult to work with, but there's some stuff you need to know, math that I had to figure out. Even though I couldn't figure out how many wand generations you could fit in 100,000 buzz earlier, I was able to figure out how many frames that you need to skip when you go around to extending your video. So for example, as soon as this one's done, it is going to be let me go ahead here. Since I'm generating it at 720p, the limit is 51 frames. So after interpolation, it is going to be, I'm going to need to skip 97 frames on the first one. So you go to skip first frames and you go to 97. And then you have your last frame of the previous clip in there. And then you continue on from there. And I have that all the way up to 3 frames, but it's the same basic math. And keep adding 97 frames. Preprocessors, there's different ones that you're going to want to use for different things. I'm actually curious to find out how open pose will affect the dinosaur face, because it's going to try to match up the facial structure. But if you have something that's less than human, say a car or a weird dinosaur, you probably would have wanted to be in depth. If you want it to keep exactly to the input video, say you're trying to make a video in anime style, but you want to keep the exact structure and how the person looks, you're probably going to want to do scribble. It's going to get really deep into those lines and facial features, whatnot. Might even do good lip syncing as well. So that's going to take a minute to load. Cale, did you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, we can pop back over and check out the results. But as well, I mean, we've got 10 minutes left, and we can go a little over depending on questions. But I mean, I just want to say, as far as the open source AI video stuff, it's a pretty cool time. Because I mean, when Project Odyssey Season 2 was on the go, you're kind of limited to pretty much Minimax or Kling. And Minimax and Kling have come a long way since then too. But
it's insane.
Seeing open source models that you can run on your computer, you can run on ThinkDiffusion. We're running on our servers on Civitai. Like, it's cool to see, because normally to do a video, on Civitai, if you were going to do a Kling generation, it would take, I think around 600 buzz per video, just because it's, an API call to generate off their servers. Where we've got it started at only 100 buzz, which, maybe it's not quite as clean as Kling at this point, but it's a work in progress. It's getting there. But it's starting, quite cheap and looking good. So jumping over, I mean, I don't think any of them turned out with the cartwheels. But this one was with dolly shot. Yeah, this is not the best dance. Yeah, it's more of a run still.
That's more of a scatter.
Yeah. I mean, this one has a big flame, like kind of like an asteroid or something coming down. The Studio Ghibli one, I mean, it definitely applied the LoRa, but it needs work, which means maybe the prompt needs work too for the Ghibli style.
Yeah, I think I tried.
Cartwheels didn't happen, but I mean, chances are if you went in and actually changed, can he be dancing out instead of sprinting? You might be able to get a prompt that might work. Oh, it's still getting the 2 responses. So
you're getting special treatment right now, huh?
They know it's on stream.
Yeah. But you mentioned the Studio Ghibli and prompting. I've noticed a lot of these lures are very particular about how you prompt too, and that could go back to how the lore creator had captioned the LoRa in the first place. So keep that in mind too. What's nice is sometimes, I don't know if any of these videos have like their prompts or their prompt style in the metadata. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can kind of base it off of that a little bit, and you should have some better results.
Mm-hmm. And most of them do have an upload that says if they're 14B or 1.3B. So you can see if there might be compatibility issues. And this one is text to video 14B. So it might not work the best in image to video. How are you looking over there? Again, I mean, it'll take a minute again to bring up the contest while that goes up.
Yeah.
Your stuff's rendering.
I'm about like 4 steps in. The video models are big, so
yeah, I mean, the fact that we can actually run them on consumer GPUs in general is cool. But yeah, they take time. I've got a 3090 which is showing its age now, and it could run one pretty well. Hunyuan, very little. It struggles. But the fact that you can actually run them on consumer cards is pretty nice.
Yeah.
So again, we've got our lights camera AI. Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Action contest going on. I really, thought I was quite clever with the title until I had to pronounce it. But
usually how it goes.
I'll link it again in chat. But our contest is going on until March 6th or May 6th, where we invite you to try out the Civitai, video generation for Juan or Hunyuan, using some of the tips, both from the stream and from our education guide. And if you make videos in the categories, action, horror, romance, comedy, sci-fi, and come up with something good, or just something passable. Or it doesn't even have to be passable. If you want to submit something and get the badge, and you submit it to the video collection, I believe we can see quite a few entries already in there.
But you guys have been on it.
I mean, I think we can sort it by category. So if you just want to see romance, if you just want to see horror, they do have to be, PG-13 tops. And that can become a challenge. Like, there are a number of videos I've had to reject because Juan and Hunyuan can just be crazy sometimes. If you make a gory monster, it might make dead human bodies or something like that, like, or a decapitated head. It won't stop you. But if you submit anything to the contest, you will get this wonderful badge that I made on your profile. And if you're one of the winners, each category has 3 winners: first, second, third, for the 100, 50, and 25,000 budge, 25,000 buzz. And you might win the director's cut version of this badge, which is the animated version of it. They're all furry categories, stable deep down. All the rules, I won't go through that. I will bring up one point of that. The question has come up a number of times about why can't I generate on my home computer and submit an entry from the contest? And it's really it's not about buzz. We're not trying to make buzz from the contest or anything like that. It's that by doing that, it opens up a lot of, you can edit the video, you can make it, from what Jacob's been showing, high res, 60 frames a second. It's more just a prompting and a tool test contest as opposed to a full high quality video contest. There might be more contests to come. Project Odyssey Season 3. We will likely do a training contest, which will have a generation portion attached to it as well.
Yeah, excited to see what's next there.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see more and more of the generations that come up from this. It's been fun reviewing them because, like I said, there's some really good ones, some not so good ones. Some we've had to reject just because of the nature of the content. Some people, of course, just straight up submitting porn, and that will get rejected. You can waste your entries on that. I don't recommend it. And really, if you're submitting something, and if it was generated on your computer, as long as it looks similar or isn't a 5-minute long edited video with music, it might pass. How's your render looking over there?
What step am I on? 18 of 25.
All right.
Getting there.
So we'll open up for questions while we're waiting for that. So if anybody has any questions we haven't answered yet. Oh yeah, Dever did. His animated entry was an animated version of the badge. So any questions regarding Hunyuan, the Civitai generator, or ThinkDiffusion? Feel free. I'll take a sip of water while we wait. Because I'm really looking forward to this purple dinosaur plan man. And while we wait for questions, thanks, Evan, for coming on. We've talked a lot about AI video in the last 3 months or so. And it's, exciting to, partly get brought on by Civitai and being able to help see Hunyuan come on the platform and trying to improve it now as well, working together. And, this was partnership cooperative stream that, both of our bosses were cool with.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice. Cool. That was nice. It's, more official, hey, why does my microwave keep making lightning when I put a can of beans inside? Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, you need to put a paper towel over the can of beans so it doesn't spark outside of the can. Yeah.
Can it do text by itself? I
don't think the beans can do text by itself.
Yeah. When you expect the video trainer to get into the intro to the final stage, runs usually end up getting stuck, not learning anything, getting a refund. I'll be checking into that. I'm hoping next week can make good progress on that, or hopefully get it out. It is live now, but this week was more about getting the generation working. Can we get more of the generation details added to the Civitai guides? That would be useful for matching up things to local gens and how it's working. Yeah, we do have the education hub, and I do want to get in there and get access and start updating some of that. Does the bean trick work? Be right back, giving it a try. Don't recommend it. This is not an official endorsement for microwaving metal.
All right, we have a purple dinosaur plan man.
You're switching back over.
So what was taking this one a little bit longer is this one is generating at 720p. You can also just load up it's going to be the same model if you want to just switch the resolution to 480p and get a little bit faster. And depending on what you're generating, you might do better with 480p anyway. But yeah, went ahead and generated it at half the original frames so we can get a little bit longer of the video, and then it interpolated it. And honestly, the interpolation at this frame rate, it works just fine. I wouldn't go and try to make a slow-mo video. It'll probably get a little bit mushy there, but yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then same thing from there. You download the clips after you keep extending them, and you load them up here, generate with this workflow on, like that, and you'll have your output video. And there's this weird bug that I'm seeing where it keeps on adding more image inputs. Yeah, I think the next time I refresh the page, it'll double again. Now, somebody asked earlier about, or mentioned earlier that you could also change your open pose as well. All those options are down here. If you want to disable face, for example, you could do that. This is just to keep it nice and clean. But again, tear these workflows apart and make them your own, customize them.
And if you're not using ThinkDiffusion, can you still download the pack and run it on your own computer?
Yeah, so so we have it right now to where you can set it up specifically through a ThinkDiffusion machine. We have some of the workflows on our Learn tutorials up here. You can find some of these workflows up there. Keep in mind, a lot of these do require at least more than a 24 gigabyte GPU. And so the best place to run them and the quickest way to get them going would be, of course, on ThinkDiffusion. You can go ahead and search our tutorials page up here for a bunch of workflows that we share all the time. And if you follow us on LinkedIn, we, of course, share those workflows there as well. And again, if you're interested in checking this out, the link was shared a bit earlier. Hey, there we are.
And again.
Perfect. You can go ahead and find the tutorials in here as well. You can click on them and detailed instructions on how to operate the thing and verified to work on this build. We make sure to keep these updated. So as Comfy UI continues to be updated, you can still use them. But yeah.
They do the thinking for you. That's a good slogan.
Yeah. But also we want to kind of open it up to where there's not much of a roadblock in getting these things running too. Because as AI video continues to advance, I'm noticing that the models keep getting bigger, with the exception of the smaller models like 1.3B for one. So
it's part of the fun, but part of the challenge of keeping up with it, because this stream could be very well outdated in 3 weeks, maybe even less. Hunyuan 2.2 could come out, Hunyuan, whatever extra version that works on 16 gig cards. Who knows? Like, it's part of the fun, and it was part of the kind of the fun challenge with going for that trip or going out to San Francisco, because it was kind of out of action for one day, and that's when FramePack came out, and Google's platform for AI generated programs came out. It's like, oh yeah, one day. So any other questions in chat? And yeah, I'll bring up, there was a lot of changes and a lot of things going on Civitai this week. So, our focus, at least with the WAN stuff, was getting it up and running, training coming soon, as well as some of the frame interpolation upscaling. But it's been a very busy week and a lot of changes, and not everything's gone perfect.
Making it work.
No other questions? We'll give another minute for questions, but if nothing else comes in, I think we can start wrapping up.
Sweet.
And again, thanks for joining. This is fun to put on, and I'm sure we'll have more collaborative projects on the go. It's a cool space to be in, especially on the open source side, where you can actually get that control, as opposed to, Cling, Runway, etc. have more options than they did, but it still feels like you just throw an image at that and hope for the best, which for Project Odyssey was fine, but it's nice to actually get control now. Yeah, Twitch
And
does.
AI video's really been, it's really been hitting the mainstream too. A lot of creators are using it. There's a new Snoop Dogg music video. I don't know if you've seen it, but heavily using AI, and it was really cool how they used it as well. But as it hits the mainstream too, this control too is with open source. The control is everything.
Yeah, the mainstream is interesting. I mean, at that event, there was a number of more traditional directors and people more involved in the film industry there. So it was not just a couple of geeks, which would have been cool too. Like I would have been fine.
Oh, that's always still
20 geeks talking AI stuff, but no, it was actually quite the diverse group. So it was quite interesting to see and talk, and trying to sell our pitch about axolotls and cat cops. I don't know if got any buy-in, but if we get season 1 on Netflix and then canceled right after, I'm happy. But I don't think it's going to happen.
They'll
that
still
took
pay you at least $20 for it, so at least.
Yeah, maybe 25.
Yeah.
Oop, that's not the one. Shouldn't highlight that. I meant to delete that. So yes, not seeing any more questions. Oh, any idea how many credits for one character lore training it's going to be? I mean, as far as the training cost, I believe one training is going to be $3,000.
$3,000?
Buzz.
Oh.
Since Flux training is 2,000.
Yeah.
And it's a little more to it for video training. And there is image to video training, and I know they're looking into video training for Juan as well. I mean, one option is also you can generate some videos in the contest and maybe get lucky, because that'll pay for a lot of training. Yeah, if it was $3,000, that would be a lot. You could probably buy a pretty good video card for $3,000.
Yeah. Or I think a 4090 is about that much right now. Yeah,
with how much everything's gone up. Well, it sounds like 5090s are coming down in price finally, because I mean they're just so expensive.
Yeah.
From Sky Rules. Train on images or videos. Yep. Like right now, you can train Allura on images, but Juan and Hunyuan also, well, actually, I can't confirm if Hunyuan as well, but I know Juan does, can train the model with videos or small clips of video too. And yeah, we'll have an announcement on video training. I mean, like I said, it's up there. You can see it. I'll jump back to my camera. But if you go into Train Allura, it's in here. Video training, has a new effect option. So you can train them, but it's not perfect yet, and there's still some bugs, which is why we haven't put it all out there. Quick summary for somebody who just joined at the end of our stream. I mean, here it is. Juan and Hunyuan are now on Civitai, AI video models, text to video or image to video. I'll link the article here again. But that's our contest, which includes a bit of a rundown of the models. You can run them, like I said, in text to video or image to video on Civitai quite easily. There's a guide to how to prompt them and a contest attached. And then as well, you can go on to, I'll just click through from here. From this article, too many windows. So this is about the stream here as well. You can go ThinkDiffusion, who have just released a Juan and Hunyuan starter pack kit for video generation on their platform, which, I'd recommend going back through the stream once the VOD comes out and the YouTube video comes out, because it's kind of hard for Jacob in 1 minute to summarize everything he just talked about over the last hour.
Yeah.
But there's some cool stuff. Check the links. Watch this video if you get a chance. I will be following this up with an article as well of just kind of the top tips of prompting, kind of attached to the contest. And
it's going to be great.
Good. So switch it back to us. Nope, not all that. I can turn off that screen. Oh, why mute? That's fair. Now we're on the same side. So thanks again for joining, and thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been quite the week, but it's also exciting with all the AI video stuff. So hope you go in and try it out. Hope to see your video entries in, and as well on the ThinkDiffusion side. I hope. Well, I mean, Jacob, you'll let me know if people sign up, right? So if people sign up, I'll probably find out, and hopefully more people try out that pack. I know I probably will.
And if you have any questions, or you get it and you try it out, have any questions, I'll be in the ThinkDiffusion Discord. Feel free to post a question up there, or reach out to me if you run into anything, and be happy to help you out with it. I'll be around for a while.
Yeah, and from the comment, yeah, your beard is much better. That's fair.
Thanks. Growing myself.
Much less grown. I can't grow all this out. I can get this and that, but he's got it all. Right on. Well, thanks again, Jacob, and thanks everybody. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I mean, if you have questions on the video front on the Civitai side, feel free to comment in the articles or send me a message. Right on. Have a good weekend, all.